Hi everyone, welcome back to my channel again, and this should be my fourth video. I still remember, that means I never do enough. Okay, today a bit different. I would like to talk a bit about the resale project that I feel that it has a bit of an undervalued. It has a bit of potential that you can consider, which is very different from most of the agents in the current market in 2025 first quarter. They'll be talking about all the new launches, all the hype, and that is where sometimes you might want to look elsewhere away from the hype, because where there's no hype, maybe there's a bit of an undervalue in that direction. Okay, so without further ado, I'd like to present to you Irwell Hill Residences, right smack at Great Wall City. 2 minutes to the MRT, 2 minutes to Great Wall City. Maybe about 7 to 10 minutes or 12 minutes stroll down to Orchard Shopping Belt, and even across the road you can just go over to the Robertson Quay Riverside area. So let me share more about Irwell Hill Residence with you guys today. Okay, so like I said, I always like to find out what is the meaning behind the name of the condo. So apparently Irwell Hill area, okay, it's actually called the Irwell Bank Estate. So in the history, back many years in Singapore, right, that enclave is actually a luxury home to some of Singapore's most prominent family, and that explains why this is a government land sales that is being released, if I'm not wrong, around 2019-2020 period, and for the longest time they have kept it in the reserve. They have also change of use of the land, I think, because of its very prominent location, just bordering Orchard Shopping Belt, just adjacent to Great Wall City, and with the upcoming Great Wall MRT, part of the Thomson East Line. I think this is a game changer for people that wants to live near Orchard, but not literally right in the smack of the hustling and bustling of Orchard. Maybe you can also get quite nice amenities. Nice amenities like you can get a hawker food at Zion Food Center, for example. If you stroll down River Valley towards Valley Point, you can get also some of the food at the shop houses. I think, if I'm not wrong, Boon Tong Kee is there. There is also a Mamak Malay store that is there. And further down at Valley Point, you can get some lifestyle produce, lifestyle action, like I think home yoga is there as well. So this place really feels like a bit of rejuvenation, and in preparation for people to come right down from Queenstown, from Redhill, from Tiong Bahru, where we know that the resale in the area is really very hard to find a 3-bedroom of a listing in that area, because I serve families in that area as well. So I think gradually it will gravitate down, and on top of that, it is also within 1 kilometer to 2 relatively good schools. So I think this would eventually be a upgraders town, hopefully, down the road. Especially in this topic, I'm going to talk about the 2 other plots right in front of Great Wall City that is being sold through a government land sales to All Green, to CDL, and how does that make the whole area, the price of the whole area change quite a fair bit. Maybe later part you can see from my video, so stay tuned. Okay, again, if you like my video, I spend quite a fair time doing up the slides, going through the ideas and discussing with some of our team. So help me to like, help me to subscribe, share with your friend, feel free to forward to our friends. And if you want to get the slides, if you want to talk about the PDF that I have here, please let me know. Feel free, just WhatsApp me. My number is at the comments below section, and I'll reach out to you as soon as possible. Okay, so Irwell Hill Residences. Today, I'll keep it short and sharp. Okay, we will talk about general project information, the location, the price analysis, some exit strategies, and then finally the site plan and some of my recommendations. Okay, so let's go to the project information. Okay, project name Irwell Hill Residences. It is by popular CDL. Okay, region District 9, Core Central Region. Okay, address 2 and 6 Irwell Bank Road. It's a leasehold because it's a government land sales, and the land size is around 138,000 square feet or 12,821 square meters. Altogether, there's 540 units, quite a mid-sized condominium, so you wouldn't expect the maintenance fee to skyrocket too high also. And also it is surrounded and or littered with a lot of small boutique developments in the area, and hence this I feel is one of the game changer, especially I have served some buyers to come and look at Irwell Hill since it's already TOP'd, and the whole landscaping, the whole newness, can't think of a better word for it, of that place actually helps to draw crowd. And then it is also a very prominent two twin towers around 34 stories high, and you will never miss it. You will always be seen. You will definitely be a talk of the town, especially anyone that drive down or along River Valley Road towards Great Wall City. Okay, so vacant possession. Just collected keys about 2 to 3 weeks ago. This is January 2025. So a very, very brand new project. You still have the warranty from developer. That's the most important part. Because if you buy any other resale that the owner has already owned it for like 2, 3, 4 years, or you are the second or third owner, sorry, you buy it as a as-is where-is basis. Okay, that's the key difference. Okay, so location-wise, very exciting location. Okay, right where we are over here, Irwell Hill Residences, right across is Great Wall City. Very popular mall. I will talk about a bit about the mall because I have been to the mall before it is revamped and after it is revamped, and it brings me to think about why All Green wants to revamp the mall. Why should they pour millions of dollars, increase the net lettable area to 20-30%? There must be a reason. Okay, if nobody is going to do business without any ROI or any outcome. Okay, so that is the key thing. The next thing is the Great Wall MRT. There are numerous of exits. Okay, one of the exits is across the road from Irwell Hill Residence, very near. There is a side gate that links to that exit as well. So pretty much I would say that it is almost literally on top of the MRT. Cannot get any closer unless it is a mixed development. But this area, I doubt there would be a mixed development. Okay, then if you are on the Ghostan, because Irwell Bank Road is one way down towards Great Wall, right? So if you go Stern, okay, you can go all the way up to the Orchard Shopping Belt. And I think, if I'm not wrong, you want to try to have a stroll in the evening. It is really quite nice because the road is actually the pedestrian road is widened. There is a cycling path because they want people to cycle down towards Robertson Quay, then link all the way up to Clarke Quay, Boat Quay, and then towards your Marina Bay area. So that pedestrian road is actually widened. I'm very familiar because I have been there a couple of times, and this road actually allows you to cycle, very lifestyle kind, down to Orchard. And if you don't want to, you can also take a 1 MRT stop down to Orchard Boulevard, Orchard Station, and that is where you can come right out to Ion Shopping Centre. Yes, correct. Okay. So if, like I said, it is a bit of a lifestyle place, I feel, because, or rather, kind of like a nice little elevated neighborhood to live in, or atas neighborhood to live in, because you still have your hawker food right near Zenith. Okay, so you still get affordable food, even though it is at near the Orchard area. If you want, of course, you can go further down a bit where Havelock MRT station is, and then on the left side you can go to Biocrest. There is a old neighborhood, HDB neighborhood. If not, you can go to the right where Outram is, or towards Tiong Bahru. There's also some shop houses that you can get food from. Okay, so this is the area. Also, in terms of lifestyle, it is also very near to, like I mentioned, Singapore River along Robertson Quay. It's an expat town. There's a lot of bars and cafes along Singapore River, leading it up all to Clarke Quay and towards Robertson Quay. Okay, and you can see in this area, below the canal area is actually where most of the HDB are. But right above where Irwell Hill is, there's a lot of different projects over there. Okay, they are mostly freehold comparables, and they are also, the older ones are really very huge. I will take one example right across the road, Cosmopolitan. Basically because one of the buyers that came to view, he specifically mentions, oh, how about Cosmopolitan? Okay, so I put it into this comparison of pricing later. Okay, then there are surrounding on the left and right of Irwell Hill is very little boutique condominiums that I think it's a bit lackluster because of the era that they are in. So they don't have a full condo facilities, not much like Irwell Hill Residence. But of course, I also pick up those that TOP this around the same period as Irwell 1-2 years ago as a form of comparison as well in the price analysis later. Okay, on part of the location, I would like to describe the change in the master plan. Okay, this is, I feel, a game changer for the whole of the Great Wall Precinct. Because if you focus on 2008, when I think probably they announced the Thomson East Line, but it is still in the works of planning stage. Okay, you can see that Irwell Hill is still on top, the yellow portion here. It is still being labeled as a reserve site as during that period of time. And then if you see those that are in the yellow circled ones, they are actually commercial. They are actually commercial sites. They are not labeled as residential. Where compared to, if you notice, in 2019, there is a change to residential with first story commercial, residential, and of course right above where Zouk used to be, residential as well. I think that this change is one of the government's intent to try to recreate this place to be a more family, a more lifestyle kind of location, to allow more people to start to get used to, or even bring in some local demand into Great Wall area, basically because they want to build an MRT there, part of the Thomson East Line. This is, I feel, my direction. Yeah, so that is the change. And how does this change lead down to how does it help Irwell Hill residents? Because back then, this area doesn't have so many residential sites involved. But right now, two of the sites just right in front of Great Wall has been bidded and awarded already. So we can see how it will bring about a positive outcome to how Irwell Hill residents can be down the road. Okay. Likewise, I just mentioned earlier, I'm going to mention about why, because I going to think about it. Why would a mall owner want to spend millions of dollars to revamp the whole Great Wall City? And it's not a simple renovation. It is a revamp such that you increase the net lettable area by 20 to 30%, which also brings in a lot more tenants. And I think this initiative is also part of the preparation or the opening of Thomson East Line, the Great Wall MRT station. And not just that, I believe the developer or the mall owner also know that this area is going to be rejuvenated with a lot more residents, with a lot more footfall, with a lot more people coming in. And I think this is where they are confident that they will want to revamp the mall. And this also gives a bit of an indicator to buyers. I feel that sometimes when I always share this with my buyers, I mean, we spend maybe $1 or $2 million, which is already a significant amount of money buying a house. We consider quite a fair bit. We consider our finances, we consider our backup, we consider our reserves. What more if a developer spends more than hundreds of, probably 50 or hundreds of millions to revamp the mall? They definitely done their homework in the area. They definitely know that this area is up and coming. And with that, I think this creates some assurance for you as a buyer to come in to this area also, if you want to take benchmark from, not from salesperson like me, but from someone that is really like running a business over there, right? And also on top of that, why two developers, CDL and All Green, continue to bid for the land in front of Great Wall City. Yeah, that is also a strong indicator that there is some value in that area, and they are confident that they can sell the units over there. And it's not little units. If I'm not wrong, two land altogether, there's about 2,000 units coming into that area. And this would help to set a benchmark or anchor price for Irwell Hill residents down the road. Such transformation, I would say, is not common for core central area in Singapore, because if you think about it, not many places, other than Raffles itself, because there's a lot of pieces of land in Raffles. But right right where Great World is, right where Robertson Quay is. Not common to have government land sales. They are mostly en bloc so far. So I think this is one of the rare opportunities that Irwell Hill will benefit from down the road. Okay, so even such a revamp right now done up. If you've been to Great Wall City, right now you can see that it's actually a very comfortable mall to walk around. They have things that fits all people of all ages, from kids all the way to adult food, to cafes, supermarkets, whichever you want, and they also have very good reviews lah, being mentioned online also. So I think this is quite a success, or rather a anchor move for All Green to do up their mall again. Okay, so next we go on to price analysis. So price analysis, I will divide it into three different portions. Price analysis, I consider number one, the upcoming launches that I mentioned, Zion Road Plot A and Plot B, or Parcel A and Parcel B. Then the next one is comparing to the existing already launched project based on their pricing. And finally, comparing with the resale transactions that already happened around Irwell Hill Residence. I think this will give you a sense of how Irwell Hill is currently being priced. And on top of that, this is a little bit of a bonus, I feel, because probably only working close to almost 9 years, and then I start to realize certain things. So especially if you go on to Property Guru, you search Irwell Hill Residence, you can see quite a number of listings. And this presents an opportunity to me, I always feel, as a buyer, okay, because there is more supply ma. So more supply you can find, possibly I'm sure you can find the owner that really wants to upgrade, really wants to sell, and maybe they also want to change of location, get a bigger unit, and certain life circumstances lah, that while waiting for Irwell Hill to TOP, changes in their lifestyle. So if you're keen on that, stay tuned. Towards the end, I'll share with you a bit more. Okay, so let's go on to a price analysis with upcoming launches. Okay, as you can see from the master plan 2019, where this area is 5.6 and the other plot also changed to 5.6. Don't mind, I just have a drawback earlier. One thing that I missed mentioning is they changed the plot ratio quite significantly from 3.8, 3.1, and then eventually it becomes 5.6, 5.6. This allows them to build a lot higher. And hence, even though the plot size is not big, they can build quite a fair bit of units over there. Okay, so these are some changes in master plan to encourage developers to take up the land, because then they can build more units. More units means they can have more margins and more profits. Yeah. Okay. Coming back, so plot A. Okay, the break even, of course, to look at how likely the developer will price. This is just my guesstimate. This whole launch haven't happened yet. Likely to happen on Q3 of 2025. So if you are keen around that period, please follow me, and then you will be able to see me talking about these two plots also, and how they will fare down the road. Okay, and as of now, we have no information. There is what kind of units they're gonna build there, what kind of condo landscaping, what kind of concept they have there. I think developers are now scrambling with the architects to come up with lah, because basically they have 5 years to sell from the date they are awarded, right? So usually they will take about 9 to 12 months to come up with the planning. If not, then it will become a very short time to sell. Okay, and how they will price it also, we also need to take reference from how well the last few launches has been doing. Unfortunately, I feel that it has been 80%, 70% so far sold. So developers might have a bit of the bullish mindset when it comes to pricing. Well, everybody's guess, right? So what I can do is to give out some benchmark, and that is where we can look at if that helps Irwell Hill Residences as a newly TOP project, immediate rental yield. Okay, so plot A, around 2,100 PSF break-even price. Plot B, around 2,230 PSF for the break-even price based on the cost that is required, including construction, land financing, any differential premium they paid, professional fees, and marketing and sort. And not forgetting, actually, since it's also in this picture, right next to Great Wall City MRT, there's also a plot C that is triggered for tender. But then there is no news out as of any developer will take up this plot. And basically, plot C is a bit of an odd shape. This plot C is of a bit of an odd shape lah. So it really depends on how developers want to take up, and it's only 470 units, not very significant compared to plot A. You can do about 700 units and of residential, another 400 units of long-term service apartment, and plot B you can do around 600 plus units. So of course, developers want to build as much as they can. Okay. Also, basing on the a lot of buyers tend to ask me, or a lot of hearsay in the market, that when the developer actually bid for the land at a cheaper price, the land cost is 1,009 for plot A, and so it's much lower than Irwell Hill. It's much lower than Fraser when they built Riviera. Okay, so the buyers ask me, if the developer bought the land at a lower price, does it mean that they will sell cheaper? Okay, fortunately, we have examples before. For example, Emerald of Katong. They bought the land around 1,200 PSF. So when they total up, break even is 1,900 PSF. So does it mean that the developer can sell average price at 2,200, 2,300? Yes, possibly, but eventually, no, not possible. They didn't. They also tried to mark up. They also tried to go with the market consensus, market acceptance. In the end, average PSF, so Emerald Katong is 2,621 PSF. What does this mean? Okay, so to me, because I also want to figure out what kind of benchmark prices for developer for Zion Plot A and Plot B is going to come out with. So I use similar premium that Emerald Katong has been and has enjoyed and has been accepted by the market, considering 99% sold. Okay, so if I do the premium at Emerald Katong, break-even price 1,911, average sale price 2,621, their premium is around 37.2%. If you round up, close to 40% kind of premium that is being paid. Okay, so using the same concept on Zion Plot A and Zion Plot B. But before I go into that, we must know the difference between the two plots. Okay, so Zion Plot A, there is a requirement for the developer to do a long-term service apartment, about 400-ish units. And this, I think, presents a risk to the developer because you don't know what is the occupancy rate that is eventually going to come out with, and they can't sell these units away. It's like a part of their business model. So this also affects their profit margins eventually, as compared to Plot B that doesn't have to go through this pure 600 residential unit up for grabs for any homeowners that wants to buy. So having said that, that's why I think developer at Plot A is a bit more conservative. Being more conservative, probably they also be able to explain to, URA obviously is the one that decides on why this bid price is okay, is acceptable, and why they are awarded. Okay, versus Plot B, which is actually not slightly, but more expensive, around almost 10% more expensive, 229 break-even price. So if we multiply in the similar premium that I mentioned earlier from Emerald Katong being accepted by general public, okay, you'll see that average price at Zion Plot A is 2,867, likely. Okay, and average price of Plot B is 3,057. Considering that, this is also mentioned by one of the researcher lah. Okay, that Plot B receives a 88.49% higher bid in terms because of the absence of the long-term stay. If I account this into Plot A's as a risk of the long-term service apartment, I think likely developer might want to launch average around 3,100, and if you round up Plot B, also around 3,100. And since Plot A is going to launch first, I think this is a signal for All Green, Parcel B, to see what is the take-up rate. Okay, so having said this, Average price around 3,100, close to 3,200 PSF on average, likely to mean that they have to sell some units at a higher price, maybe the smaller units 3,400, maybe the smaller units 3,500. Then the bigger units, they can go at 3,100 or maybe just nice 3,005. So the average out, the price can be around what I have mentioned. And this actually presents an opportunity for Irwell itself, because Irwell right now, the average PSF is around 2,800, 2,900, and there are also transacted PSF at 2,700 also. So to me, considering something that just TOP, less than considering less than 1 year old, you still have developer's warranty, immediate rental yield if you want to. Okay, I think Irwell will do well in the future, especially when these launches are ready. They will drive some buyers to go and see what is new in this area as a form of comparison. And that is where the take-up rate for the existing listing would be definitely higher. That is the comparison as I mentioned earlier. Okay, so Zion Road Plot A, average out prices 3,100 PSF. Plot B, round up, also 3,100 PSF. Likely launch price, likely they will launch some higher price smaller units, maybe 3,300, 3,400 PSF, and then the bigger ones they can launch slightly cheaper, and all this will actually help Irwell Hill, because right now Irwell Hill average price is 2,900 PSF, about 200 to 300 PSF cheaper, and the lowest transacted had happened before is around 2,700 PSF. So I think this actually makes Irwell Hill looks pretty attractive. As I have mentioned, number one, it is less than a year from TOP. Number two, immediate rental yield. If you are looking at it, immediate move in, you do not have to rent a place. Okay, and you can get to see the end product and how well reputable developer like CDL has done it. And finally, of course, I would say that when Q3 comes, the launches starts to happen at Zion Road. I'm sure buyers that drive past towards Zion Road for viewing the new launch will want to have a look at Irwell Hill and see what's going on, and trying to figure out that the prices are actually lower than something that is going to launch. Okay, next up, comparing to the existing launches, this is very interesting because I would say that it is quite uncommon to see a core central region condo having a quantum price that is comparable to rest of central, city fringe, as well as outside central in the recent launch in November 2024. Okay, so if you can follow me through one by one, we'll compare Emerald of Katong, the Ori, Chuan Park, Nava Grove, and finally Irwell Hill Residence. Of which all these condos 99% take-up rate, Ori 86% take-up rate if I'm not wrong, Chuan Park I think crosses 90% take-up rate, Nava Grove is also 80% take-up rate. So this actually goes to show that the price acceptance by consumers is actually quite high in city fringe, in outside central area, which is pretty strange and makes Irwell Hill looks rather very undervalued, because a similar 2-bedroom transaction at Emerald Katong is $1.856 million. At the Ori, which is also RCR, is $1.808 million. Chuan Park, 700 square feet, even though it is bigger, it is $1.908 million. And Nava Grove, I think better in terms of more fairly priced, is $1.687 million. Okay, so if you look at the differential, Irwell Hill, there is 2 units that is calling for or asking for $1.78 million negotiable. The premium difference is negative when you compare with, it should be positive because it's supposed to be more expensive living in town, which is quite interesting that it becomes negative. It's much cheaper in a sense if you stay in town versus staying at Katong District 15. Maybe there's some charm in that. 2% cheaper than staying at Toa Payoh. 7% cheaper than staying at Serangoon. Okay, I think Nava Grove makes sense because Nava Grove is 5% 5% lower price as compared to staying at River Valley. So I think if you look carefully, why I want to talk about Irwell Hill Residence is because this is something that is no hype. Okay, so no hype, maybe people don't really know about it, and that is why I'm doing a content on it. Okay, anyway, this is something that you can spot right now at Irwell Hill. There's only 2 or 3 listings that's available. There's around this price. The next few listings goes up to around, also not significantly higher. I think slightly below what you pay at Emerald or Katong. 1.85, you can get a decent sized 2-bedroom as well. And not forgetting, the location speaks for itself. If you tell your friend where you buy, very straightforward, you just have to tell them, you just find me at Great Wall MRT. They will definitely know where is it. And if you work in town, you don't have to worry. It's so easy to get down to CBD. About 4 stations, 5 stations, you get to Shenton. Okay, so coming back, the 3-bedroom. Okay, for the 3-bedroom, of course, there is a premium to pay. And the premium is also not significantly too much as compared to Emerald or Katong. The one at Irwell Hill 3-bedroom is calling for 2.759, negotiable. Okay, the premium difference I would expect sometimes in rest of central or even outside central area, it should be 50% cheaper or even 30 to 50% cheaper. However, it is not compared to the existing launches because people are willing to pay around 2.4 million for Emerald Katong and the Ori, as well as Chong Park. People are willing to pay $2.446 million, which is 11% lower than what you pay at Irwell Hill, which is actually quite interesting to look at. And I feel that this makes Irwell Hill Residence 3-bedroom also a bit of undervalued in my opinion. Okay, and finally, as I mentioned, the comparison of price analysis with resale properties in the area. There's too many. I can't pick all. Sorry for that, but I picked those that are mentioned before by viewers that came to look at Irwell Hill. I picked those that are just TOP or within 1 year TOP, and also I picked one that is right in Somerset area. It's called OUE Twin Peak because having heard of it is selling at also quite an interesting pricing. So I decided to have a dive in and look at what is going on in the area. So if you look at this chart, I use the Cosmopolitan, which is right across from Irwell Hill Residence. I use Avenia, which is the same TOP period as Irwell Hill, down the road from River Valley towards Kinnerley Road. Okay, I use Martin Modern, which is right where Martin Place is, also in the heart of Robertson Quay. I use RV Altitude, small project TOP, probably last year or almost 2 years ago. Okay, down the road, probably the third traffic light from Irwell Hill Residence. I also picked OUE Twin Peak, which having here some noises that is selling at quite a valuable PSF in comparison with Irwell Hill Residence. Looking at the 2-bedroom transactions, okay, the Cosmopolitan would be very interesting because it shows you how the older condos that are in the year 10, 15, 20, when back then their 2-bedrooms are 1,000 square feet, 1,100 square feet, or 1,400 square feet, they will actually cost you and transacted at $2.8 million. As compared to Irwell Hill, similar 2-bedroom, you can get at 1.78, 1.85, or even 1.9. You don't even need to pay up to close to $3 million for a 2-bedroom. And this is not knowing if this 2-bedroom can you configure into a 3-bedroom layout. If you are unable to configure into a 3-bedroom layout, I think that will not serve future if you want to sell it to any families of, say, family of 3, family of 4. They will not want a 2-bedroom in the area. Okay, so having said that, if you look at Avenia, the 2-bedrooms are around 800-ish square feet. Okay, their transacted price is $2.85 million. Martin Modern, their 2-bedrooms are around 721 square feet. Their transacted prices are around $2.07 million. Okay, and RV Altitude, they are slightly smaller. Okay, so they are around $1.65 million. So to make sense of this, Irwell Hill still presents a price gap to even the newer condos, to even to Martin Modern, there is a percentage. In comparison, Irwell Hill Residence at around 1.78, 1.8, 1.85, or even up to 1.9 million for a two bed, two bath. I think it still presents a price gap as compared to the existing older condos like Cosmopolitan, 57% cheaper, Avenia 60% cheaper, or Martin Modern around 15 to 20% cheaper. Okay, of course, RV Altitude, it seemingly looks a lot cheaper than Irwell Hill Residence. Then again, it is a boutique development. There's only 140 units. You see, notice that I also highlight the number of units, 140 units. Okay, so it is a very different comparison as compared to Irwell Hill, which is easily 3 to 4 times bigger than RV Altitude. And finally, if you want to live right smack at Town OUE Twin Peak, okay, 462 units, quite comparable to Irwell Hill, but their 2 bedrooms are also calling for $2.31 million. It also presents a price gap of about 30% as compared to Irwell Hill Residence. So, to me, if you want something, if you have a budget, I mean, we are being realistic. If you buy a house, you have a budget, but you want to live in an area that is a bit more elevated, there's a bit more convenient, and also you want to have a bit of a lifestyle, and you don't want to pay, say for example, $1.8 million to live in Chuan Park, then I think you know where you can look at. If you still don't know where you can look at, means you never pay attention to my video. Okay, means you have to call me and then we sit down and discuss what do you want to do with your next move. Then I can help you to try to resolve it out. Okay, comparing to the resale property, so all in all, I feel that Irwell Hill still presents an opportunity. If you notice, comparing to the upcoming launches, it is still at an average of 2,900. If you are lucky, you can get something at 2,800 PSF plus minus. Compared to the upcoming launches, that is going to average out the price at 3,100, 3,200, and likely if they can push up in the next 4 years to 3,004, 3,005, I think that presents a price gap for Irwell Hill comparing to the existing launches that is happening. There is already a price gap going on, because the price that you pay at city fringe or even outside central region, you can easily get a unit at core central area Singapore. Why not? And comparing to the older resale in this area, why it presents an opportunity is because of its more efficient in the sizing as compared to the older condos like Cosmopolitan or even Trillium. The 2 bedrooms are going around 1,200 to 1,400 square feet compared to Irwell Hill. Similar layout, you can get it at around 600 to 700 square feet. Okay. And finally, I think price analysis should come with some rental support. If you look at the 2 bedrooms, okay, the rental price should be in the range. On average, you can get around 4,500 to 5,000 in this area. And if you ask me why people are willing to rent in this area, again, it is about the lifestyle. It is about since I'm going to pay, might as well I pay for something that is newer. Okay, or at least if anything goes wrong in the house, I can tell the landlord and the landlord can reflect back to the developer to get anything fixed during this period. Okay, this has happened to me for Amber Park that I've done because it's a premium product in District 15, so developers are a bit more careful when it comes to dealing with the defects. Okay, and of course, tenants are always being attracted to new things, and Irwell Hill is definitely the shining kid on the block. If you drive down, you'll never miss it. It's 2 of very big towers at the junction where Great World City is. Okay, 3 bedrooms, I think if you look at, you should be averaging around 7,000 to maybe 9,000 you can get as a rental, and this is very befitting to clients that are looking for rental income, that are looking for income generating properties. I think Irwell Hill can fit into this criteria as of now. Okay, and one other thing to mention is that the maintenance fee is not significantly higher because there are 540 units available to sort of spread out the maintenance costs as compared to the nearby units that are smaller. For example, RV Altitude, there's only 140 units. You can imagine how much the maintenance fee is going to be as in comparison to Irwell Hill. Okay, and to almost sum it up, to the end of the my video, some exit strategies that you can look at, I've definitely find is the change in the master plan. Number one, if you look at the back of Irwell Hill, there's also a reserve site that is planning to be triggered if developer wants to build another piece of another masterpiece in this area called core central area. If not, there's also another plot that is right outside Great Wall MRT, except that it's a bit of the odd shape. Else, what is guaranteed in this area is the two plots A and B, that is being awarded and will launch in Q3 or Q4 this year. And on top of that, their plot ratio has changed from 3.8 to 5.6, which means they can build significantly higher. And respectively, A will have 700 plus units and B will have 600 plus units of residence. And this will help to anchor down the price, as I have mentioned, in this whole area of Great Wall City. Okay, over here. And finally, looking at what has been transacted and what is the resale transaction in this area, I feel that Irwell Hill right now has some potential of capital appreciation down the road. The only concern, of course, is there's a bit of too many listings in the current market. And how does that actually work as an advantage? If you are buying in, feel free to approach me. I'm more than happy to discuss with you what kind of strategies we can take. Okay. And of course, lastly, I want to mention another cool thing that I just found out, which previously when they are launched Irwell Hill, it wasn't listed inside, is the inclusion of Alexandra Primary School within 1 kilometer on one map itself. And this also helps to bring in more homeowners from Queenstown, from Red Hill area, because this is one of the top primary schools, one of the best primary schools within this cluster. And I think I've done it before, helping parents to look for a place to upgrade in Red Hill in Queenstown is quite challenging. And likely if Irwell Hill falls within the 1 kilometer to Alexandra Primary, it will bring some parents down to live in this area, especially there is also MRT, so it doesn't change their lifestyle from Red Hill and Queenstown too much. Yeah. And finally, of course, is the opening of the Thomson East line. I think it helps with a lot of convenience into Great Wall, especially if you around my age group. You have been to Great Wall 15 years ago. You know that it's a place that you don't really want to go. Firstly, the mall is very old. Secondly, it's very hard to get there. And thirdly, it is really basically it's out of the way. But right now it's very different with the MRT. It brings people down from Thomson, from Sin Ming, and you won't be surprised you can get upgraders from the area moving downwards, because actually at Upper Thomson, at Sin Ming, it is not easy to get a 3-bedroom in the area as well. So basically, these are some of the exit strategies that I think down the road you can stand to gain if you buy into Irwell in the next 3 to 5 years when this whole area starts to rejuvenate and change. Okay, finally, this is the end of my session to talk about Irwell Hill Residence. Based on the points I mentioned, I feel that Irwell Hill is a bit undervalued because it is a core central product, it is a premium product. And if you are keen to want to discuss more, find out more, if you have seen my advertisement on Facebook regarding a core central area condo 2-bedroom being similarly priced as a city fringe or outside central area, and if you want to talk more about the site plan and what kind of layouts to go for, or even if you want to view the existing layouts, the existing how does it look, how does it feel like, feel free to call me. I'm more than happy to run through with you my whole deck again, as well as to bring you on a home tour to see various units at Irwell Hill Residence. Okay, that will be the end of my video. Thank you very much for tuning in and staying with me all the way to the end. I'll see you in my next video. Thanks guys. Bye bye.